Wintec Solutions is a leading African distributor of advanced satellite tracking, communications and IoT technologies tailored for rugged environments and off-grid mission-critical applications. Our mission is simple: distributing innovation by bringing cutting-edge global solutions into African conservation, agriculture, logistics, mining, oil and gas, and security vertices. We pride ourselves on working closely with NGOs, conservationists, researchers, parks, and industry leaders to deliver reliable technology in the most remote and challenging areas. Mr. Palmer, hello Jeffrey.
Hey Renee.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good, welcome. We were just saying we're giving everybody a few minutes to jump on and join the stream. Myself, Courtney, Bruce, and I are down the pane here. Hopefully you can see all of us. And then the attendants, we can see their messages on the chat bar on the right-hand side. And people can ask questions and comments. And we're just waiting for a few people to jump in and join. And then we'll kick things off. Thank you for joining us from Barcelona.
In Geneva today.
Good. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. And with us today we've got Jeff Palmer, the CEO of Global Satellite Engineering, who has developed the GSatSolar tracking product. We've got Bruce Jones, Director of Partnerships from Earth Ranger, who is in the middle of a field in the Karoo in the Eastern Cape. He is absolutely conveying the message of conservation. He's even signing in from a copy in the middle of the outdoors. And we have Courtney Monowick, conservation at BCF, the Job Conservation Foundation. And thank you all for the speakers that are joining us here today. I'm hoping that we can cover quite a lot of ground. It's going to be quite high level. Anybody that wants to ask a lot of in-depth questions, please contact us afterwards and we can send you a lot more of the technical specs and the deep dive. This is going to be as much of a sort of high-level summary as possible to go over a lot of these features and create a nice recording with all of us on here that we will be able to share afterwards. Thank you for joining us, and we'll kick us off. We are Wintec Solutions. We import and distribute the global satellite engineering product, the GSatSolar, and this is what we're here to talk about today, along with the new features and upgrades that this unit has received. And in that, we will go through a lot of the improvements, the upgraded battery, the firmware, as well as show you this new bracket. This is quite a new accessory and quite an exciting part for a different mounting option. Then I'll talk you through a real world use case where we've actually deployed units and how some of the learnings from that have been taken back to improve the product. And then we're going to hear from Jeffrey about some of the future developments and exciting things that are coming down the line. We're going to hear from Bruce about our partnership and our integration with Earth Ranger and how conservationists and parks are able to use the Earth Ranger software and our hardware together. And then we're going to hear from Courtney about how they are using the technology in the Giraffe Conservation Foundation and how they're using the data to carry out their conservation efforts. And then we'll go into a quick Q&A. Friendly chat with all of us to go through everything, and I'll kick us off on the features of the GSatSolar. We've been importing this product for about 3 years now into South Africa, and we've been supplying a lot of people that are on this call and those that couldn't make it, and globally with this device. This device is not purely for conservation. We do have other verticals that we service. We do supply it to oil and gas, to mining, to security verticals, to monitor equipment in the field. So everything that you hear today, this unit can still be used in applications outside of wildlife. It just works very well on game and on animals because of its weight and size. How we got into this conservation vertical and why we, I guess, were so passionate about it is, one of the things is that animals can't defend themselves, and with all the ever-changing human demand for more space and for more consumption, we all know that it's becoming more and more pressing. We find that this product is doing a great job to help conserve and stop anti-poaching. It's helping to improve migration habits and hibernation patterns and just aid our conservation and wildlife population overall. We're grateful to be able to fill the gap between technology and try manage this human-wildlife conflict as best we can while we're using technology. That's really where the adoption of this comes in, and we've got some really great partners that are all part of that. Companies like Smithsonian, National Geographic, Wildlife Conservation Society, African Parks, obviously GCF and Earth Ranger, who are on the call with us today. There's really been a big uptake globally, with the product and how it can be used in this space. And we're going to show you all about that today through these slides. This is, for those of you who haven't seen this before, the GSatSolar. We've gone through 2 revisions before this one, quite a few learnings. We're always developing and improving the product. We're improving the firmware. We're improving how the data is being received at the back. And the biggest feature upgrade that we've seen at the moment with this product is in the battery. This battery has been upgraded from 180 milliamp hours to 300 milliamp hours. And what that allows us to do is get a lot more locations from the device. Where we were previously setting up the unit to maybe see 4 track locations a day or 8 or 12, we can now get up to 48. And that allows us to have much tighter increments of tracking, much more real-time alerts for geofence breaches, much more accurate data in tracking the assets. It's really opened up a whole lot of new ability to understand the movement patterns better of the animals and to extract the VEDBA data from the accelerometer in here. For those scientists and biologists that are on the call and they're looking for the really deep dive on what the bearing and the heading, if the animal has its head down or if it's grazing or if it's moving towards a water source, we can now tell you that a lot more frequently. And when you generate reports out of the system to see that, the gaps between where the animal was and where the animal is no longer 3 and 4 hours. It can now be as quick as every 30 minutes and every hour. So it's a lot more accurate, and across the landscape, you're able to see that data a lot more closer. So the batteries really made a big feature in being able to allow us to do all of that. And then there's been quite a lot of firmware changes as well to improve the battery life here. So Jeff is going to talk in technical detail about that a little bit later, but it's really allowed us to be able to improve the GPS fix to the satellite. So when does it look for the network, how often it looks for the network, when it goes into sleep mode, when it comes out of sleep mode, and those tweaks in the firmware have been able to make the battery life and the usage a lot more efficient as well. I think those are really big, important features that have improved the functionality of the unit. It still works on the global star network, still a very high speed, low latency data ping of small packets. That still allowed us to get reliable data quite quickly back to the viewing pane. One of the nice accessories that has now been developed is this bracket. Unlike the traditional one, which a couple of people have been asking about, is there's different hole sizings in the middle. And what that allows us to do is actually secure the bracket from the inside using standard ear pin tags, but there's play. These pins can move up to 4 millimeters on both sides, giving us 8 millimeters of tolerance to play with where you can position it. So again, depending on the type of species or the game that you're looking to put it on, there's been so much discussion around, do you use a single ear tag? And if there is a single ear tag, then, it flaps and it moves and it might irritate the animal. And some applications have put 2 ear tags, one on either side to clamp it down, but then it makes the unit much longer. This actually eliminates a lot of that by being able to securely connect the unit into the bracket and still have 2 adjustable ear tags to mount and position and to miss any sensitive arteries or veins during mounting. This is a really nice accessory that's come out along with the new product and gives us even more additional mounting options. That's on the accessories, the firmware, and the battery life side. To really summarize what the product's upgrades is, and some of the use cases of how it can be used for more accurate tracking intervals and more accurate science and data that we can get out of our use case. This is a really exciting project. We did this about a year ago. Unfortunately, Will Rogers, who was the PhD student, is in San Diego time zone. He's probably fast asleep and wasn't going to be able to be here to talk through this with us, but he did give us permission to use this. And I will talk through the actual deployment of this. And what Will did here as part of his PhD thesis was he deployed 400 of these units onto African buffalo. And the picture that you can see on the left-hand side indicates all of the GPS pings from our satellite trackers, so that he was looking to take the VEDBA data from this unit and plot it in a graph. And he wanted to try get as many intervals as possible within a 24-hour period. We actually customized the firmware for him to be able to give him 5 locations a day. And that allowed him to get as close to 24 hours to plot a graph. And what he wanted to do with this data was to effectively understand the migration habit of the buffalo over a period of time, as well as monitor the bovine TB spread and where the buffalo actually moved, where they moved between rural villages, between grazing cows, and where this infection spread potentially happened, and then map an overlay of where this happened. This is the type of data and the type of project that we can get by using these devices. And on the next slide here, we'll see how all of that information actually came through in 2 pretty visible panes, where we were actually able to see some of the infected game, where there was a high risk of infection, and where the animals were actually moving that may have caused that. This was a really exciting use case. One of the things it taught us was that we needed more battery life, which is why we took that feedback and improved the battery in here. If we were able to get 10 or 20 locations a day as opposed to the 5 or even 15, because he wanted them in set increments, it really would have allowed him to get more accurate data. And feedback and projects like this were really key in being able to help push us to design and develop the product and make it even better. And that's where some of these features and capabilities came from. These are the type of projects that could really help to understand the health of animals, the spread of disease, the wellness and welfare of the game. And that I thought was a really good case study that we carried out with the unit. We've done lots like this. A lot of the people on this session might recognize some of these pictures. Thank you for sharing them with us. The units are not specific to a particular breed or species. We use them across multiple animals, and here are just a couple of examples and a few success stories and testimonials of customers that are using them. We've got these deployed everywhere globally, from Australia to South America to Europe, to heavily densely populated throughout Africa, where we've got a lot of the need for this. These are just some of the examples of zebra, rhino, elephant, African buffalo, and giraffe where the units have been used, and some of the testimonials from customers that have been using them. Thank you to everybody for sending those through and for the vote of confidence on the use of them. I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you for taking the time and logging in. And if you could please tell us about where some of this technology is going and some of the future upgrades and improvements that we've been working on, and what we can expect to see from the product and also the platform in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Renee. Just some quick notes, because everyone doesn't inherently get to see all of the stuff going on in the back end of the organization or what our team is working on. We have ongoing work on platform visualization, tools that get into like utilizing GPU of your computer system to analyze multiple months or years worth of animal data, how to heat map it, visualize it, aggregate it, or right ingestion of all of this data that's arriving. They have the firmware team that's always working on improvements on firmware, hardware updates, manufacturing. Right, we have just every day is ongoing work on the GSatSolar architecture, whether it's software, hardware, firmware, production, and it's this never-ending cycle. And of course, it's fed by our partners and customers ordering units, asking for new features, and pushing those capabilities. You're right that the product really fell into this space because of its size and form factor. It was definitely 80% of the reason for designing this product. Its capabilities were really down to the new technology that's available from embedded antennas, signal sensitivity, the capability to transmit to the global star network via a embedded ASIC that's small, efficient, the band that this satellite network operates in that allows an onboard antenna to be utilized, right, and just ongoing work with the network. The visualizing migration, thank you, is it touched on it a little bit about our team working on this new GPU based mapping engine. It's been in development for 2 years now, and and we're excited to show you what it's capable of. It's still some months away. Going through the what you see here is some of the GPU summarization of position data, but the user experience component of this is actually really difficult to formulate, to give you all of the controls to aggregate and visualize this data, but it be usable. We can put 50 panels of configuration tools to control the map, but it doesn't make it into a usable interface. Right now, we're going through a lot of discussions about how to design that user experience. As soon as that's complete, we'll get the new map engine out, and you'll see things like hex bins, heat maps, heat trails, a multi month or a year analysis of position data. And I dare say that we're working on some 3D or animated visualizations as well. Things like moving sprites. Be exciting to see. I hope we uh, hit a home run with that visualization capability. Um, this was a interesting one as well. GSatSolar can do a lot, right? It also has a Bluetooth sensor in it for Bluetooth role and peripheral capability about position or research project, just about position data, about where animals aggregate. But using a new hex bin visualization of aggregate data, you can see where animals hang out the most. And this was a spot in a field that was just kind of an odd place for most of the herd to be hanging out. And that's when he discovered that this is actually a water source. You can learn things that you might not have seen about the field, just about visualizing animal behavior. What I was going to mention as well is that because of Bluetooth sensors in the device, we can actually use this device to put the Bluetooth sensors in the field and transmit that data, which we're doing with some water projects today, but it can be implemented in anything, right? Any Bluetooth sensor, we can write some code on the device, aggregate that data, push it over the air. Also interested to hear about anyone's projects around Bluetooth sensors, getting notified about when animals enter or exit geofences. These are built-in platform capabilities, um, and then these geofence capabilities in the platform also apply to all of the other reports that you want to run. I want to know what animals have entered this geofence over this period of time, how long they've been in this geofence, dwell time, if they're spending time inside or outside the geofence. It ties into all reports and all alerts capabilities of the system. And Renee, as you mentioned, right, a lot of this is around human encounters, safety of the animal, safety of the people, right? You want to know if animals are encroaching in a dangerous fashion into human territory, or more so whether humans are harming animals via roadways or just general conflict zones. Notification that there's a herd coming towards a roadway is an important one that we've had a number of requests in just the last few months about. Always interested to hear what government projects are feeding or driving these needs and applications. It definitely helps both the animals and human encounters. Visualization of unusual behavior. Um, this is another GPU-based report, right? It's easy to see where the hot zones are, where animals typically are, and where unusual behavior is just sort of outside of that. We have a fun koala project where koalas mate for a really short period of time, and the rest of the year they spend in one location. Exactly when that mating season starts is really easy to identify because of these reports, right? Koala hangs out in the same kilometer region and then is off on a 20, 30 kilometer hike looking for mates for a month and then comes back. Very unique, and every animal's different, right? Always interested to learn about what different animals' behaviors are. Predicting movement, all about increasing productivity. We always push the concept of manage, monitor, maximize. If you monitor it, you can maximize and manage anything that you do, whether that's animals, agriculture, equipment, machinery, you name it. Accountability and evidence of results, right? Government projects uh, and investments, right, want to know what the outcome of a multi-year project is. And these reporting tools and visualization tools give you that ability to say, we did this project for 6 months, and what are the results of those position reports, analysis, animal behavior, movement, and summarize that in a useful way. I appreciate everyone's time. A pleasure to set this up, and thank you, Renee, for getting everything organized. I do have to sign off, but I'll review everything and chat with everyone with any questions that you have. Thanks again, Renee.
Pleasure, Jeff. Thanks very much, and all the best.
Over to you, Bruce. Thank you for joining. I will definitely be watching this one.
Thanks, Jeff. I actually missed the last 5 minutes, but I definitely do want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you, Bruce. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, for those of you that are not familiar with Earth Ranger, we're a platform that brings in data from a number of different sources, 3 different types of sources. The first would be in-field data capture on a mobile app or other types of applications. The second would be automated feeds from things like camera traps and other remote devices. And the one that we're more concerned about today is tracking devices. You can track subjects. And we do this with over 100 different devices through our platform called Gundi, and we do that with GSatSolar as well. What you see on the next slide is an example of the number of devices that we've connected over the years. We have 23,000 pieces of data that have been logged into Earth Ranger with over 48,000, what do we call it, subjects that are being tracked. We have 13 million data points that are being captured with of over 1 billion observations. And define an observation as a point where a subject has made a pin. When Renee was talking about every five positions a day, that's what we're referring to is 1 billion of those. And what we've got now with the new GSatSolar or the GSatSolar devices is we've got about 330 of them connected through, I think, around about 60 of our end users into Earth Ranger. And this is possible through Gundi. The sort of data that comes in, this shows, in this case, this is a rhino. And you can see the tracks, and Jeff was talking about visualization. This is typical of a visualization platform, and that's what EarthRanger does in this case. You can see where the rhino has been, and this could be any species that has a tracking device on it. It could be GSatSolar or any other one, or a combination of them as well, actually, which is something I wanted to chat about as well. You can see where she's been, over what period. You can get heat maps. You can have a historical time slider. You can move the time slider backwards and forwards. You can see where not only that particular subject, but where that subject has been relative to others. What struck my mind when you're talking about the study of the buffalo in the Kruger area with the different types of diseases is that we can set up proximity alerts. If you know you've got an infected herd and you've got an uninfected herd, you could set up a proximity alert to say, hey, these two herds are getting a little bit close to one another. Let's make sure that they don't mix up to spread the infection. Those are the sorts of things that we can do as well. And this applies to GSatSolar and others. What we could also then do is say, well, this particular animal has not moved. So you can set up an immobility alert to say, well, this animal has not moved. It's a nocturnal animal. It's at nighttime and it hasn't moved. So let's go and inspect to see if there's something wrong. Or you can set up, and this is all based on the accelerometers and also pings of where the animal has been. You can set up speed alerts to see if it's going a little bit faster than it should be, which might indicate that it's been poached and being transported by a vehicle of some sort. And then along with that, heat maps and other types of things as well. What we got here is, this is the sort of what's next on EarthRanger, and with artificial intelligence and machine learning becoming so prevalent, we do incorporate some machine learning on some of the trackers that we have in EarthRanger. And the case that we've got here is a connected camera trap that can identify not only the species, but whether it's an adult or a sub-adult. And then that sort of data can go into EarthRanger as well. So those are that's the future of EarthRanger and the different devices. Now, just thinking about how we can work with GSatSolar and other devices is that the use cases are not only you can use it for animal movement behavior. So the ecologists would want to see where animals have been. And we've recently developed a geospatial analysis tool called EcoScope, which is in beta testing right now, and it should be released under general availability very soon. You can do all of that geospatial analysis. So split between seasons. You can look at multivariate analyses. We will have a statistical analysis component to it in the future as well. Not only is EarthRanger the real-time and historic visualization tool, but you'll also be able to do proper animal movement behavior studies on EcoScope, and also comparing it to other types of data that come in. For instance, what is the NDVI figure of the grasses? You can see why animals are spending more time in one place and they're grazing on greener grass, as an example. All of these different tools coming in, and with the help of tools like GSatSolar, we're able to do that sort of thing. And one last thing I wanted to mention, Renee, you mentioned you're talking mainly about V3 of GSatSolar. I think, and Jeff did allude to it, I think one of the things that we need to emphasize here is the form factor of the GSatSolar devices, in that they're really small. And that is very attractive to a lot of protected areas because of the aesthetics of them. You get these massive, the old school,
Absolutely,
massive.
Bruce. And
finding more and more that people are wanting to go to your devices because of the form factor, because of the aesthetics. Yeah, we've got a really strong partnership. As I mentioned, we've got 330 GSatSolar devices going through EarthRanger at the moment, and that's always growing as well. So thanks very much for your time, everybody. And let's go to Courtney, who's one of our end users as well.
Thank you, Bruce. Absolutely welcome, Courtney. Needs little introduction. I'm very well known in this space. Over to you. Thank you for joining us all the way from Hoedspruit, the heart of conservation in South Africa, it seems these days. It's got projects happening there, and it's a beautiful area. So welcome.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Bruce, also. I'm going to tell you all a little bit about the use case of the GSAT tags at Giraffe Conservation Foundation. At GCF, we base our decisions on science, and we're very proud of that. And GPS locations of giraffe are an essential source of data for us to answer many questions, from post-translocation survival to how fences and anthropogenic development impacts movement ecology. Historically, GPS tracking devices have been very difficult to attach to giraffe, despite their big body size allowing them to carry heavy devices. They're unable to wear the traditional neck collar. Since 2017, GCF has GPS tagged over 600 giraffe, trialing and developing several GPS unit models with many partners. But more recently, the technological developments have allowed us to safely attach GPS units in some more innovative ways, and the GSatSolar ear tags offer us another tool in our belt for answering specific questions about giraffe in Africa. Since 2023, we've deployed 98 GSatSolar ear tags on giraffe across 6 countries: Namibia, Rwanda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Chad, and South Sudan, along with several deployment partners. We've been involved from V1 all the way up to V3 today, and we have seen considerable development and improvement over time. We only recently deployed some of the V3 in Namibia just last month. I can't report anything just yet, but we're looking forward to seeing the improved battery capacity this year. Our most common use case for GSAT tags is in post-translocation monitoring. We can check on the survival of translocated individuals and evaluate the success of our operations. Because ear tags are more affordable, we can tag more individuals per group. We actually aim to put one on every single individual that's translocated if we can. And with the one-pin option, they are quick and easy to attach during mass capture as well. As Bruce described, our GSAT data, along with all of our GPS tracking unit models, because we do use different units for different purposes, they all integrate into our EarthRanger instance and also the MoveBank platform. From both of these platforms, we then share our data with several partners for either on-site monitoring, EarthRanger to EarthRanger, or giving academic partners access to MoveBank for specific research questions. For example, we've got one student at the moment exploring the impact of climate change on giraffe distribution across Africa, and she has the GSAT data included in her data set there. And then I'm just going to end quickly on a little bit of technical information for those that are interested. We at GCF, we've done a lot of trial and error, figuring out what works best for giraffe, especially in the vast different systems they occur in. We have set a standard for ourselves for the giraffe that we only schedule the tags for recording 4 locations per day. I know that they're capable of much more, but for us, the longevity of the tag is our utmost priority. And for giraffe that spend a lot of time with their head stuck in the trees or under tree canopy, it's a little bit tricky sometimes for the batteries to recharge sufficiently. We're really looking forward to seeing the benefits of the new battery in version 3. For giraffe, our average fixed rate success is 83%. That is the data we receive versus what we schedule. And as I mentioned, there was a lot of trial and error at the beginning to figure out what works best for giraffe. Our sites are vastly different, from the deserts in Namibia to quite dense forests. And obviously, not surprisingly, they work really, really well in Namibia, but we have to adjust the schedule for different sites, knowing what conditions on the ground are like. For anyone who's interested in any more of this technical and data summary side of things, you're more than welcome to contact me. At GCF, we do promote data sharing and learning from each other in the field the best we can. We're happy to pass on all the lessons we've learned and any tricks of the trade that we've picked up so far if it can benefit other projects. Thank you.
Lovely, Courtney. Thanks so much. And yeah, love that about GCF. Always willing to share and engage with other users. I think we've had a couple of people asking to introduce you to them and get your insights and get your feedbacks. Thanks for being so open to helping other projects as well. That concludes our session. Are there any questions from the floor? Is there anything that anybody watching would like to ask? Is there any technical information or otherwise? And open up for Q&A. Thank you for joining our experts in satellite tracking and conservation technology. Our next video will go through the questions and answers from our webinar. Click, subscribe, like, and follow us on all our social media platforms.